3 o'clock. Let's go ahead and call this Churchill County Library Board of Trustees into session. All right, so let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. This brings us to our first section for public comment. Is there anybody that would like to make a public comment at this time?
Every time I come here, is something new. My name is Jeff Nell at 261 Serpent Place, Fallon, Nevada, 89406. For the record, you're here because of me. You can look at the YouTube channel, Jeffrey Nell, Geoffrey Knell, and explains why you're here. For the chairman tried to use me for harassment in 86 for the city. They gave that information after I did nothing wrong. She and her cohorts were, you have the position now, which I hope you're clean, one at the LGBTQ, critical race theory, and drag queen story hour. They wanted it to happen. I prevented it. I'm the only one in the town that does this. The rest of the churches are useless. They twist the scripture, cherry pick, I like to say. And lo and behold, look where we are today. I don't know any of you four, but I do remember this guy. He used to be a department head and he retired. Congratulations. I know the feeling. I'm a former Navy guy, over 20 years. I've seen a lot of politics. Oh boy, I got tired of the politics. And technology killed my position. Anyway, I'm being in the future to let you know and what you are. The LGBTQ is depopulation, period. Absolutely. It's like Washoe County. I see the library board and commissioners and stuff, people have resigned due to the fact they believe in a lie. So I hope you return into what God wants you to be, moral standard, and hang in there. And really just, you can make these kids advance and as adults and stuff, and to use God's word. But I tell you, it's coming true. 2 Timothy and so forth. I see the timer on the clock. They don't have that. With the school board, there was no policeman there, and I was the only one there. Gave them praise, and they mentioned what's going on. And they say, oh, wow, that was quite something else. But I hope you have the will to stand up against what is right, what is wrong. Well, what is your standard? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, let's go ahead and go into a roll call of the members. Maddie, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Maddie Cerna here.
Sari Kaler.
Dr. Segura.
Jessica Rowe.
Ryan Swarzik.
All right. So verification of the posting of the agenda.
Pam Moore, for the record, the agenda was posted on October 16th between the hours of 1 and 5 at the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thank you, Pam. And consideration and possible action regarding the approval of the agenda as submitted or revised. I think at this point, we take a motion for the approval of the agenda. Does anybody have that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Maddie. All those in favor say aye.
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 The motion carries. Consideration and possible action regarding the approval of the minutes of the meeting held on October 16th, 2025, this special meeting. Do we have any discussion on those minutes or questions? Hearing none, do we want to make a motion for the approval of those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held on October 16, 2025.
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right. So we have Ryan and Sari on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank
Aye.
you. All right. So Library Board of Trustees report. I will start us off this time, and then I'm sure everybody's got some pieces that they wanted to do. I just have a great deal of gratitude this time. And so for me, I wanted to take a moment to thank Pam for all of the work that she did to help us get that meeting up and running. I know that we weren't easy, but you sure made it look a lot easier than it was. And so I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate the work that you've done for us. And then I also wanted to take a moment to thank Penny. Penny has been so fantastic to take over that interim position and to help us. And I know that she has been appreciated by the community, by the staff, but I wanted to let her know that she's been so appreciated by me. You have helped me personally, and I am so grateful. So thank you so much for everything that you've done. Anybody else want to bring something in?
I'm sorry, Ryan. No, go ahead. I just wanted to echo Jessica's gratitude. We're up here, on YouTube, but there's a whole bunch of people in the background that are really instrumental in bringing it all together. So, yeah, thank you, everybody.
I just want to welcome John on board and appreciate you accepting the position and moving out to Fallon. I think we'll get together soon. And thank you, Penny, for your hard work these last few months. And that's what I got.
Thanks, Ryan. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to say?
I would also like to echo all of you. Penny, there's not the correct adverb or adjective to describe how grateful I am for your service to our library and just stepping up to the plate and taking the bull by the horns. It wasn't just a leisurely job. You did phenomenal, and I am so grateful. I would also like to welcome John. I'm excited to get our new library going. And I also want to thank Tom. I was looking at the programs that you're implementing, and the drone program is near and dear to my heart. And so when I saw drone racing, I was all, yes. So thank you guys for all of your hard work and all of the other library, the other library staff. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Penny, I can't thank you enough. When you recommend somebody for a job that you haven't seen in 25 years, I got in my car and I said, what did I do? You rose up to all the expectations that I have had relationships with you. John, all I can say is hold on, let's get ready. I am so excited. Thank you.
All right. It's time for the library director's report, and both of you can come to the dais and give that to us. I'm excited to get started with you, John, and I'm looking forward to hearing your reports. And Penny, thank you so much for all of your help in preparing it.
Well, I am very excited to be here as the new library director for Churchill County Library, and I just want to say that I want to thank the support of the board with their vision, and the wonderful library staff that are doing great work in the library, and of course Penny, who's been just feeding me a lot of information. She's really set the groundwork, and so I believe the library has great potential for building a strong organizational staff as we hire, and then as we do outreach and partnerships that exists and around the community, where I see with the schools and with the local college and many other places, and of course building community relations, because they are the ones that will drive the direction of the library. But I'm just, again, will be observing today's board meeting and, just letting Penny take the lead, but I look forward to future conversations.
Yay, it worked. I have this aura about me with technology. If anything is going to go astray, you put me by it, it's going to happen. So I really do appreciate all of the gratitude. It fills my heart. It has absolutely been a pleasure to do what I'm doing. I've learned so much. I've met so many kind people. And as I worked out of the county for the better part of 20 years, frankly, I just didn't know, because of lack of experience, just how supportive that this community can be of, interdepartments. And so that's been great. Let's start off with, I know everybody received the statistics reports. Do you have any questions, observations?
I love the way that I can see it in a pie chart. That's real to me, and I'd like to see that continue. John?
I was very excited about the top post. It was kind of a lark when I asked the Love Fallon group, can you paint that? And they did, and they did a great job. So
Nice.
Many people may not notice, but I noticed. So a shout out to that group as well for the volunteers that did that. Okay, the report, I learned last month that I shouldn't just cover the whole thing because you haven't read it already. So do you have any questions about anything that you see on the report?
It was clear and accurate.
Great. So there are a couple of pieces of information I would like to share that were not timely for this. As a point of information, the library has long used Booker and Taylor as the book vendor, and they unexpectedly went out of business. We had over about 200 books on order with them and went, oop. And of course, Magdalena takes great pride, as does Jay, about ensuring that we have new books in a timely manner. At any rate, so we had to change vendors. We have changed to Ingram Library Source, I think is their official name. We have done business with them in the past, so we were able to, I'm going to say we, but really it's Magdalena, was able to investigate, learn that we've done business with them, made all the right contacts for a new representative, and is very proud that last week, within 5 days, received 97 books and got them all RFID'd and labeled. And since we're new to them, they didn't come with the Mylar on them, so she and some volunteers got all of that done. So there's, at this moment, 100 new books in play, and we expect that that will continue. It turns out that the pricing is very similar, just as an FYI. Regarding the budget, the only thing that, this is just for your information, as you know, we've talked about the security of the building, and we're concerned when we learned that all of the inner doors cannot be locked from the office side. So if we needed to secure in place, we're not able to do that. The doors all just open and close. So we have reached out to the facilities department and asked about getting those changed. Those locks can be quite expensive, but they will look in their reserves and see if there's some, used product that they can bring out and that is keyed accordingly to, simply add that layer. If they do not have those in reserve, they're reportedly about $400 apiece. So that would be an item that is, that not budgeted for. As I've mentioned before, we have no facilities expense as a line item. So again, for your information, I would like to point you to the very last page if you haven't, really looked at that. We're really excited for Lilia's, the library assistant has put together this Franken Toy event for this Saturday. And so I went out and found a bunch of stuffed animals, and we have glue guns and embroidery needles and maybe a little extra fabric where you can tear apart one stuffed animal and create your own Frankenstein, if you will. We're hoping that we have a great turnout. That will be a key focus of John and the crew to figure out more effective ways to market the wonderful programs we have going on. So with that being said, if there's no other questions, that's what I have.
Thank you.
I didn't have any questions, Penny, but I did appreciate all of the highlights that you had put in to help me know how the community and the library were working together. I did notice the volunteer piece that you had highlighted there, and I thought that that was strong. And I love that the Franken Toy exhibit is bringing people in to the library to interact with you and with the staff. I think that that was a clever way of inviting families into the library and getting them connected. So thank you so much for all of this.
If you have children or grandchildren, pass the word.
Thank you. All right, so is there anything else on this item of business that we want to prize? Are we good to move on to the budget report? Looks like we are. So under new business, we have consideration and possible action regarding the approval of the monthly budget reports for September 2025. Do we have any discussion points or questions on that budget report that we'd like to handle? Seeing none, I would take a motion to approve that report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the September, is it September's?
September.
September's budget report.
Thank you, Sue. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thanks, Sari. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. So B is like unto it, consideration and possible action regarding the approval of the library gift fund report for September 2025. Do we have any questions or discussion on that item? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve that report.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the library gift fund report for September 2025.
Thank you, Sari. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thanks, Ryan. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. All right, for the last item on our new business, we have a presentation by Thomas Patterson, Digital Information Services Librarian, on the E-rate training that he attended recently. Tom?
All right. You guys like free money? So you should all have this consumer guide from the FCC on SIPA. I'll get to that towards the end of that. So earlier this month, I went to a workshop that was presented. I promise I'm reading off this only so that I'm very specific, because some of the language has to be quite precise. But it's there was a workshop done by some consultants from a company called E-Rate Central, who are contracted by the state to help schools and libraries walk through the process of applying for E-Rate funding. E-Rate is more formally known as the School and Libraries Program of the Universal Service Fund, which is administered by the Universal Service Administrative Company. They are a permanent contractor of the FCC. So when the federal government decided that internet access was important for specifically students to have access to, they created a separate line item charge that shows up on all of our telecom bills. So anybody in the country who has a cell phone or has internet service has what's called the Federal Universal Service Charge, and it's about 50 or 60 cents a month or something. All of that money is pooled together and dispersed through through USAC to schools and libraries for the benefit of creating and continuing internet access. Let's see. So we are coming up on, they have filing windows and periods that they disperse the funds in. They have not yet released the dates for the filing window for fiscal year 26, but the ones for last year, January 15th to March 26th, and it's expected to be roughly the same time period. There's also, there are 2 forms that we will have to fill out if we do want to take advantage of this funding, and one of them requires a full month in between before the second one can be filled out, because it requires essentially opportunity for companies to submit a bid proposal. The discount rate is determined by the number of students who are on, well, not on, but eligible for the National School Lunch Program, and that rate is shared between the school system as well as any library within that district. The rate for Churchill County this year is 90%. So we would be potentially saving up to $3,000 a year off of our internet bill. We can apply a 90% discount. We pay the other 10%. And like I said, it's... Yes. It's not 90% of students are on that. That's the discount percentage that we're eligible for. And that caps out, there's a table that shows the breakdown of it on their website, but I believe anybody that has 75% or more of their students above or eligible are going to lock in that 90% rate. And they also break it down urban versus rural. So I think the cap is 25,000 in the municipality makes you urban. So we also fall under rural, which they advantage higher. But yeah, 90% is there's nothing higher. They do not give total discounts. They always want to make sure that whoever is involved has some skin in the game. It's not a grant program, but it's very similar to a grant program in that way. Let's see, what else do we have here? Because the amount that we would be requesting each year would likely fall under a threshold, we do have some reduced requirement for filing forms. So it is a little bit simpler. If we were to do something like add another building and we wanted to cable that building for internet access, we could use this type of funding to do that. We would just need to go out for bid and go through a whole lot of paperwork. So we still have a good bit of paperwork, but significantly less than somewhere like Clark County, where their school district has over 350 buildings in it. I'm very thankful that we don't have to deal with that. The major provision to receive E-rate funding is that we must be SIPA compliant. So SIPA, which is on this handout that I gave you, is the Children's Internet Protection Act. This was passed in 2000, and it is a conditional requirement to receive any sort of E-rate funding. We do not currently have the strict provisions in place to qualify, which requires that the board takes a few actions in order for us to do so. We have to have an internet safety policy that specifically includes technological protection measures. We must have a public meeting addressing that policy. A regular board meeting would suffice for that. It contains opportunity for public comment, and then you can have your own discussion on that policy, and that satisfies the requirement. And the third is that we must have a technological means of filtering any computers in the library that a minor could access. So it has to block internet access by minors to visual depictions only, not any other depiction, but visual only, of obscenity, pornography, or material harmful to minors. That filter also must be able to be disabled for adults in the pursuit of bona fide research or other lawful purposes. We don't have to track anybody's internet use minor or adult to be SIPA compliant. Schools do, but as a library, we are not bound by the school requirements. And we would also have a 1-year grace period. Once we start accepting that funding, we would have a year in which to finalize our SIPA compliance. I don't think it will take a year, but we are granted that as a new applicant. So that is the gist of the training that I attended, boiled down to not very much time. Do any of you have questions that I can answer?
So what technological filter would we be using? Does it already exist? Is it costly to put together?
We already have a technological means by which to do so. We would simply need to activate it. And because there are, community concerns always whenever some sort of filtering and blocking of open access takes place, that direction to filter the internet needs to come from the board.
I appreciate you bringing all of the information from your training to us, Tom. And I anticipate that this is a topic that we're going to need to do some research for ourselves as well.
Yes.
I think that that would be a responsibility of board members because the topic that this addresses, beyond the money that is being offered here, is quite serious and is attached to the mission of the library, as well as our mission to our public. So I think that if we were to start to pursue some research after what you have given us, and this is a good start, the handout that you've given us, if you could provide us with some suggested resources that might have come from your training, I think that that might really help me. I also think that as you work towards some of these things, because we do have a nice time frame before the filing opens up, so that gives us the opportunity to do some research, to let you talk with your director, and let you and your director maybe consider ways that this might be something that you could implement or not in the library, how it would affect your vision of the library, and how bringing in something that is a filtering system might have an impact in our access mission, right? And how do we uphold our access to information for our public while also considering some of the safety issues that you've raised from this training, right? So as you start to do that labor and we start to do our research labor, I think that this might be something that would be appropriate to come back up in front of us to have a conversation about as we prepare for the upcoming year. I'm certain that I'm not the only one that has comments or questions on it, other than a sincere gratitude that you're doing some of the labor to bring this in yourself, because you, with your knowledge and your direct access to that training, are the best poised to help us understand this. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do it. But does anybody else have anything that they'd like to ask Tom?
I just want to be clear on the time frame. So we need to have the very first contract or whatever submitted no later than February, right? Because we have a month to
That's
submit
right.
the second
So
one.
if we were to, and I'm not entirely clear on the requirements of the paperwork, I've been talking with our consultants at E-Rate Central on whether or not we are actually required to file some of these forms. But if we were, the timeline is going by last year's dates, for example. It closed on March 26th. So no later than February 26th, we would have to file a particular form with the FCC that puts us out into a marketplace, forum board where every contractor in the country can look at that and say, yes, this is something that we can provide. We would like to write a bid proposal. At that point, we would then draft up a grading matrix and assess those proposals as they come in. And then by the final deadline, we would submit the second form, which is the selection of that vendor as well as, all of the essentially refund that we are asking for.
Thank
My
you.
my recommendation for timing is that either in November or December's meeting, we have that opportunity for public comment and discuss the new policy. It's something that John and I and the rest of the staff can work on crafting some of the language for and presenting to you, and then you can modify that policy as you see fit.
Thank you.
I do want to mention that the filtering is only a technological way of enforcing what we already do. Our computer use policy explicitly prohibits the use of our computers for any sort of prurient material. This is just a technological way of making sure that, okay, people aren't looking at it while my back is turned. But yes, as it currently stands, we do prevent people from doing that without consequence. We just don't technologically prohibit it. So there's less concern that we are restricting people's access because they're already not allowed to access it. They're just not entirely prevented from doing so.
I appreciate that clarification, Tom, especially for anybody that's listening. And as we raise these kinds of topics, naturally, people are going to have concerns, both for access and what we can access at the library and for the safety of children and other residents, right? It does sound to me like this is a great starting point for us to start to learn more about this program, to learn more about the Children's Internet Protection Act, and to look up these things and do our due diligence on our own. That should put us into a better place for when you and John can come back to us with your side of the proposals. So whenever it is that you feel that you are ready to do that, we are well poised to hear it, and I really do appreciate it.
And if you come across any research that you want us to read, please forward it to the whole group.
The one thing at the top of my head is I suggest you look up the case that was ALA v. US. The ALA actually sued the federal government to prohibit them from requiring SIPA to be enforced
Okay.
to receive these funds. And the Supreme Court ruled that it is not a burden on the First Amendment to prohibit this sort of access.
Okay.
So there is strong precedent for this being a completely justified use of technology in libraries. There's a long, more than 20-year history of this. I believe the E-rate program started in the late 90s. So
Thank you.
there's
that.
quite a bit of jurisprudence on all of that.
Thank you.
That's a good place to point us, is to look at the precedent and the jurisprudence. So thank you so much for that. We will look forward to hearing more about it and hearing how you might want to proceed on some of these pieces. I think that that's really helpful. But this does give us a great starting point. So thank you so much. Our next meeting date is set for November 20th,
Can I-
2025. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I would like to address our non-compliance of a statute that was brought to our committee on Tuesday. With all of us being trained, can we get that on our agenda for get started next month?
Well placed, Sue. Public comment is a great place for this piece, I think, so that you can explain the context for it. But the agenda part, I think that John and Pam and us, we can all work towards that next agenda. But in that public comment, go ahead and explain what you're talking about for
Okay.
anybody that wasn't there. All right, so next meeting date was set at the last board meeting, so November 20th, 2025 at 3. We've made that change in order to give everybody a chance to be with their family for Thanksgiving. And now, Sue, it's public comments, so take it on.
I'd like to recommend that we go forward with the statute that was brought to our attention that we hadn't done, which is trustee training. And the person that wrote the program, former deputy state librarian, has agreed to come in and teach it every month, which I think would be amazing to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I will take an opportunity, and you'll have a shot too. I'll take an opportunity on this same item. We had the opportunity in welcoming John at the library to talk to Tammy Westergaard, who brought to our attention that she had digitized a trustee training tool that had been available to the state for years. She'd asked us if we had taken that training, and we'd said, no, we have not. I had taken a trustee training when I first joined the board. Carol made that available to us. Some of us may have already read some of those pieces or done that. I did it with the state in a day. In talking to Tammy later, she did indicate that it was the same training. So it's not that we're completely at sea, but personally, what I thought was very generous of her and very fulsome and nutritious for us is that kind of learning is something that helps a lay board stay in compliance with the statutes, stay in compliance with the public and all of our requirements there, and helps us to be normed with the state on a larger level. And so the fact that that is now up online, that her recommendation is that we take it piece by piece over 6 months, and that she is willing to come into our board meetings and to give us some talking points, to lead some discussion, with the idea that we'll be going through that, I think is a very helpful one. She has indicated that she will let John know our links. He will pass that on to us. So that part's already in process. The only part that we will ask for on our agenda is space for Tammy to help us. She will not be available for November, but she will be available for December. So just as an informational item today, and then we'll agendize it as we come through. Yep.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Nell. You are here because of me. What I've said at public comment is why you're here. At the meeting, there were people there wearing LGBTQ information. I said no. And I was just look at the video, okay? She came right over here and she wanted an armed guard. Churchill County armed guard right there to protect you from what? The First Amendment and what the Word of God says. Nope. But she panicked. And boy, she tried to do this. Oh boy. I'm going to applaud you for what you are, what you have done. You have, oh, bravo. Bravo, all of you. You have done what the library board has never done. I'm very happy. I have a problem with Mr. Chong a little bit, but we'll have an appointment with your director, because the director wanted to push CRT, critical race theory, and she printed out a hot sheet, and everyone, oh my goodness, the Republicans, the Democrats don't matter. Is the position, the political environment is around you. I've been to Washoe County, Henderson, Las Vegas, at Priest and all the libraries and stuff, and I'm just so proud. I am so proud. I'm at awe. But you want to remember the previous people that were before you, they were not. They had to be kept in check. Critical race theory. I don't know if you know what you know of it, but your director wanted it. Then the new word come on. She was fired. No, she quit. No one she actually did. And you offered to Mr. Chong. He made the newspaper. 28 seconds. Wow. But I was voted out of the church because I preached the word of God. And I hope in the future, when I do public comment, I have to because of what you are presenting. I will keep an eye on you. But so far, I am happy. I'm happy what you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment at this time? Hearing none, it is time for an adjournment. Thank you, everybody, for coming.